I bet you've become all too familiar with the headlines about Las Vegas tourism collapsing, from $60 buffets, $50 resort fees, $25 parking, to a growing sense of insecurity on every corner. But beyond shocked tourists, have you ever wondered who is actually suffering the most? Here's the keyword. 2008 is happening again. This collapse has thrown thousands of workers into a time machine, back to the darkest memories of overnight layoffs, lost homes, and the American dream cracking beneath the neon glow. Vegas was once an oasis of opportunity in the Mojave Desert, a place where people rebuilt their lives and trusted the lights to hide life's fractures. But in 2025, those lights expose everything. Mass layoffs, insane price hikes, and families forced to abandon their homes for RVs scattered across the valley. In today's video, we step inside the lives of those hit the hardest to uncover the real price of a tourism system breaking under pressure and greed, and to ask what turning point awaits America next. And stay until the end, because I'm certain you won't expect the massive exodus that may strike, one powerful enough to change the fate of this sinful city forever. The collapse of Las Vegas's tourism industry has thrown thousands of workers into what feels like a time machine, straight back to the dark days of 2008. For decades, this city stood as an oasis of opportunity in the Mojave Desert, a place where people came to reinvent themselves under the neon glow. But in 2025, that glow hides something colder. The promise of second chances has been replaced by survival. After the brief post-pandemic boom, Las Vegas entered a 9-month freefall that has gutted the very foundation of its economy. In April alone, arrivals plunged 5.1%, sending shockwaves across every casino, resort, and restaurant on the Strip. What was once a city of endless opportunity now mirrors a nation on edge. A bartender at Mandalay Bay described it simply. "A year ago, I made $200 a day. Now I'm lucky if I make $50. Her story is repeated across the valley, from blackjack tables to hotel housekeeping. Income for frontline workers has collapsed by over 75%, yet the cost of living keeps climbing. Gas, groceries, rent, everything rises except hope. Nevada's unemployment rate reached 5.9%, the highest among major U.S. cities. By mid-2025, Las Vegas had lost over 4,300 jobs in just 2 months. Economists call it structural correction. Workers call it betrayal. The epicenter of this collapse is MGM Resorts, a company once synonymous with Las Vegas glamour. In one brutal day, MGM laid off 18,000 employees, the largest cut since the pandemic. The list wasn't limited to seasonal workers. It stretched from cocktail servers and receptionists to mid-level managers and security supervisors who had spent decades in the same hallways. Even 800 middle managers and supervisors were eliminated under what MGM labeled an apparatus consolidation plan. When those doors closed, so did thousands of dreams. The cuts didn't stop there. Resorts World dismissed dozens just 24 hours before facing regulatory sanctions. The Venetian quietly trimmed 50 positions from its 8,500-person staff. Fontainebleau, Las Vegas's newest luxury tower, laid off 60 dealers only months after opening. Even Treasure Island joined the purge, marking its second wave of cuts in a single summer. Officially, these were efficiency measures. Unofficially, it was the end of job security. Economists now call it a silent purge. Corporations quietly replacing long-time staff with cheaper, younger labor or automated systems. The human toll is immeasurable. On the Strip, concierges who once greeted guests by name now stare at empty lobbies. Bartenders who used to offer a free drink out of kindness now count the hours until their shifts end, if they still have one. "Vegas used to feel alive," says one former casino server. "Now it feels like it's running on autopilot." The city's trademark hospitality, the warmth that once separated it from cold corporate America, is evaporating. Every smile now has a price, every shift a countdown. Yet what's most haunting isn't the loss of income, it's the erosion of identity. Vegas used to be a place where effort mattered, where you could start as a busboy and end as a pit boss. Today, even management isn't safe. The layoffs have stripped away the illusion that the game was fair. The lights still flash, the fountains still dance, but behind them lies a quieter story, a city bleeding from within. And this was only the beginning. The collapse of tourism didn't just drain revenue from Las Vegas, it forced the city to rewrite itself. As visitor numbers fell and hotel occupancy dropped, corporations across the Strip turned to the only solution they believed could save them: automation. What once felt human is now engineered for survival. The reception desks that were once the first places to welcome visitors have been replaced by automatic check-in machines where guests simply scan their ID and credit card to receive their room keys. No eye contact, no conversation, just confirmation. In restaurants and pool bars, touchscreens now stand where waitstaff once created warmth and familiarity. Customer care hotlines that used to exist inside every resort have been merged into two massive digital centers in Aria and Bellagio, where chatbots and automated scripts handle almost every request. Inside the casinos, the transformation is even more symbolic. The famous comp drink tradition, once a human gesture of generosity, has been handed over to an algorithm. Only when a player meets the minimum betting requirement will a small green light flash, granting permission for a free drink. "We lost the freedom to be kind," a former bartender said. "If the computer doesn't approve, we can't pour." What was once hospitality is now compliance measured in data. Behind closed doors, real-time dashboards monitor every movement. Dealers, receptionists, and concierges are ranked by response speed, revenue generation, and engagement rate. The algorithm knows who smiled faster, who hesitated longer, who failed to hit their KPIs. These metrics now determine schedules, bonuses, and job security itself. MGM calls this flexible cost management, but workers understand the truth. When tourism collapsed, machines replaced people. For decades, Vegas offered upward mobility. Start as a server, work your way to supervisor, rise into management through loyalty and skill. That ladder is gone. What remains is a culture of surveillance where no one dares to be slow, and no one dares to make a mistake. Many workers admit they no longer feel like they serve guests. They serve software. The stress is constant and quiet. Automation may have reduced costs, but it stripped away the human intuition and pride that made Vegas feel alive. As one longtime employee said, "AI didn't just take our jobs, it took the part of us that made this city human." And yet this was only the beginning. The collapse of tourism and the rise of automation were about to trigger a deeper paradox, one that threatened the very logic of Las Vegas's economy. The Strip still shines, but the numbers behind those lights tell a darker story. In 2025, Las Vegas faces an impossible equation: fewer visitors, higher prices, and shrinking trust. According to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, arrivals fell 7.3% in the first half of the year, with July plunging 12%. The lowest since the pandemic. Yet even as hotel occupancy dropped nearly 15%, room rates climbed higher than ever. The logic is broken. A city that depends on crowds is now charging more for emptiness. A tourist from Texas said it best: "Vegas is as expensive as New York, but no longer worth it." 2 nights in a mid-range hotel now cost nearly $500, not including resort fees, parking, or the endless service charges hidden deep in fine print. Visitors are paying more and getting less: shorter stays, fewer perks, colder service. RevPAR, or revenue per available room, fell 29% to $128, yet average spending per visitor remained high, over $1,300 per person. The paradox is painful. Tourists spend more yet feel cheated, while the city earns less and loses loyalty. Analysts describe it as the trust collapse. Resort fees, parking charges, cleaning fees, and even booking convenience surcharges have turned fun into fatigue. Travelers joke that Vegas now charges for breathing. One Reddit user wrote, "I used to love this place. Now it feels like a giant casino that bills you for illusions." The laughter sounds lighthearted, but the meaning is heavy. Trust, the invisible currency that kept Vegas alive, is evaporating. And as trust declines, desperation spreads. Businesses raise prices to offset the losses. Guests leave because they feel exploited. Companies respond by raising prices again. It's a self-destructing roulette wheel spinning towards zero. A hospitality expert put it bluntly: Vegas forgot why people loved it. It wasn't the cheap prices, it was the feeling of respect. That respect, once the backbone of the city, has been replaced with disclaimers and fees. Amid the greed spiral, a few players are trying to restore faith. Marriott International has launched a transparent stay model, no hidden charges, fully inclusive pricing from booking to checkout. It's a small gesture, but it reminds Vegas of something it once understood. People don't return for luxury, they return for fairness. Yet fairness feels more distant each month as the cost of living explodes. Rents across Las Vegas have risen faster than almost anywhere in the Southwest, jumping 20 to 30% in a single year. For many workers, even keeping a roof overhead has become a gamble. An 80-year-old housekeeper who spent decades cleaning rooms on the Strip was evicted after her sister moved into a nursing home. "I never thought I'd live in a car," she says, parked outside Henderson. "But at least here I still have a roof." She's not alone. A 74-year-old blind technician lost both his job and home after an accident and now relocates nightly to avoid fines. Around Henderson and North Las Vegas, inexpensive RV parks once meant for travelers are now filled with locals, retirees, laid-off workers, single mothers, all surviving on wheels. Even those still employed are trapped in a cruel contradiction. They help operate a city they can no longer afford to live in. "I fix rooms I can't afford to sleep in," one maintenance worker said. His words echo the broader truth. Las Vegas's economy, once built on dreams, now runs on desperation. The Strip may still dazzle the tourists who can pay, but for the workers who keep those lights alive, life has dimmed into something mechanical, transactional, and cold. And as tourists lose trust while locals lose stability, the next stage of this story reveals what happens when a city built on chance begins running out of players. The social fabric of Las Vegas has begun to unravel, and at the center of every story lies the same trigger: the collapse of tourism, the engine that once kept the entire city alive. As visitor numbers fell and casino floors emptied, the consequences rippled far beyond the Strip. Locals now refer to it as the Vegas layoff loop, a brutal cycle where layoffs lead to lost income reduces spending, reduced spending forces more layoffs, and the spiral continues until families simply cannot stay. Official unemployment appears slightly improved at 5.7%, but the number is misleading. Thousands have stopped looking for work and are no longer counted. "No one asks who got fired anymore," one resident said. "We just ask whose turn is next." That grim acceptance has become part of everyday life. Online communities like Laid Off Las Vegas on Reddit and Discord have become emotional shelters where former dealers, bartenders, cooks, and performers share job leads, RV hacks, and stories of survival. Their posts reveal the new reality of the valley: car engines repaired in parking lots, meals shared at RV parks, and job searches that stretch for months without a single callback. For many, leaving has become the only path forward. The same highways that once brought millions of tourists into Nevada are now carrying its residents out. Along Interstate 15, long lines of RVs head toward Arizona, Idaho, and Texas, states with cheaper rent and at least the hope of stability. Realtor.com reports rents in Las Vegas have surged over 22% since 2023, while incomes have dropped, marking the largest economic migration since the 2008 housing crash. Whole neighborhoods are turning transient. In Henderson and North Las Vegas, rows of homes sit with "for sale" and "moving out" signs as families quietly pack their belongings. Even the buses leaving the valley no longer carry tourists, but the very workers who once kept those tourists entertained. "It's not a trip," one driver said. "It's an evacuation." A few lifelines still fight against the current. Goodwill Industries and the Home Depot Foundation offer temporary housing and retraining programs, while the Rebuild Nevada initiative by U-Haul, United Way, and the Walmart Foundation helps displaced families relocate or rebuild their careers. Their efforts are small compared to the scale of the crisis, but they preserve a fragile belief that community still matters. From above, the Strip still glows like a promise. But just miles away, the glow fades into RV parks, shuttered motels, and families living out of boxes. Las Vegas now lives in two layers: the bright surface for visitors and the dark underlayer for those priced out of their own city. And as more residents disappear down the highway, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. A city built on tourism cannot survive when tourism collapses. Beneath the glowing strip, the real strength of Las Vegas has never been the casinos but the people who gave the city its identity. Bartenders who remembered stories, dealers who made strangers feel like regulars, and workers who built trust one interaction at a time. That human backbone, once the secret engine of Vegas, is now fading under automation and economic pressure. And experts warn that this erosion may mark the beginning of a prolonged Vegas recession, a slow, decade-long decline where empty casinos, shrinking tourism, and mass departures reshape the valley far beyond 2025. The concern reaches much further than city limits. Economists fear a regional spillover. Rising poverty across the Southwest, weakened national tourism flows, and a domino effect threatening other U.S. cities built on hospitality. In short, what happens in Vegas will not stay in Vegas. Local authorities are expanding job programs and affordable housing, but demand has already surpassed capacity. More families need support than the system can carry, exposing a safety net stretched thin. Las Vegas is becoming a real-time case study of America's widening economic divide, a reminder of what happens when a service-based city hits its breaking point. Yet even in the cracks, the soul of Vegas persists. Small businesses built on honesty, workers who refuse to surrender connection, and community groups offering dignity where the system cannot. Their resilience points to a quiet truth. If Las Vegas is to recover, it won't be through brighter lights or bigger casinos, but through restoring trust, something only humans, not machines, can rebuild. If this story helped you see Las Vegas in a different light, let us know in the comments. What part of this collapse surprised you the most? And if you've lived here or visited recently, your experience could help someone else understand the real Vegas behind the neon. If you'd like to support more deep dive reporting like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new breakdown. Every comment, every share, and every click helps keep conversations like this alive. The content in this video is built on material, reports, and accounts from many public sources with the aim of analyzing, discovering, and reflecting a social perspective. Any figures, quotations, and statements presented are for informational purposes and are not absolutely conclusive or attributed as responsibility to any person, organization, or business. The video does not represent political, economic, or legal views and is not intended to attack or demean any entity. Audiences are encouraged to learn more for themselves from mainstream sources, official reports, and independent research for a more comprehensive perspective. This is a creative nonfiction product reflecting real-life conditions, with the purpose of evoking dialogue, empathy, and active discussion within the community.